out. I'm Kyle Kwame, and I am the election coordinator this year. And I just want to go over a few kind of like guidelines for how this debate's going to go, and kind of give you guys the format and some rules and whatnot, and then we'll get started. So the format of the debate, how it's going to go is, as the moderator, I'm going to ask a question and give each team time to respond to the question. And then after that, each team is going to have the opportunity to either, I guess, comment further on something one of the other candidates said, or ask one of their own questions to one of their opponents. And kind of, I guess, the only rule that we're going to have here tonight is that we just ask that you guys keep, you guys do not clap or like cheer or snap or anything along those lines after the candidates answer a question or say something that you guys like or dislike. Just keep all applause until the end of the debate. And with that, I'm going to let the candidate teams introduce themselves.
Okay. Thank you. Well, my name is Desiree Brown. Stop, please stop.
Is it mine?
I don't know whose it is. Okay, let's try this again. My name is Desiree Brown, and this is my VP, Katie, and we're running, obviously, for HUSC President and Vice President. So, my introduction is that. Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's what you can still hear me even if it's doing that buzz thing? Okay. What we plan to do is to, for one, to bring a more representative, to be more representative of the diversity that is on campus. 25% of us on this campus, undergraduate students, are students of color, various, and so we plan to be more representative of that. Also, we plan to attack the questions and the problems that students bring that have previously brought to HUSC and not have been brought up, or just the basic problems that we students have every day. And we plan to unite everybody on campus and to, well, basically to unite the Hamlin undergraduate community.
Hi, I'm Vice President Katie Campbell.
All right, and we have our next, pardon?
Are we just using the site?
If you'd like for introduction purposes, that work. And we have our next team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alyssa Heim, and I'm running to be your next HUSC president.
And I'm Jenny Peredia, and I'm running to be your next HUSC vice president.
This year, HUSC has worked extremely hard for students. We appointed students to several university-wide committees, like the bookstore rental program, opened up the store and game room, and hosted general assemblies that we brought in administration to. And soon, HUSC will be delivering food from the Piper Grill to students who live on campus.
I know HUSC has done a lot of progress this year, but we realize there's a lot of need and room for even more improvement. Alyssa and I have talked a lot about how HUSC can continue to be the voice of students, and we came up with basically 5 points that we want to focus our campaign on. These include to connect students together with staff, empower student organizations, advocate for students' needs, collaborate with administration, and also inform the student body about what's going on in Hamlin and in HUSC.
If elected, Jenny and I have several different ideas. We want to continue to host special topic general assemblies so students have the opportunity to ask administration questions. We want to host org spotlights where student orgs get to showcase their hard work. We want to advocate the need for more full-time professors, and we want to collaborate with university departments and student organizations to better improve HUSC relations. And lastly, we want to inform the student body in Hamlin about all of HUSC business via monthly reports available to all of campus.
Alyssa and I are really passionate about HUSC. It's proven because we've been in it for a couple years now, and we also want to we also understand the responsibility it takes to be president and HUSC vice president.
Together with your vote, we can expand the possibilities for all of Hamlin's students. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And if we could hear from the last presidential and vice presidential team.
Hi, my name is Don Allen, and my vice president will introduce herself also. And we're here today. Well, first of all, let me back up. I need to unpack this for you. This is not representative of me leaving my house, my family, and my kids to 50 people in the room, and this campus has over 1,000 undergrads. Okay, first of all, HUSC has to do a better job of engaging the students on this campus. This room should be packed. We should have standing room only. Okay, bottom line, no ifs, ands, and buts. Now, you're going to hear a lot of rhetoric tonight, and I got full-blown political profile going tonight, and we're going to debunk a lot of that. But when I win, we're to do a lot of things here on campus that are going to be different. We're to change the models, we're to change the profiles, and we're to make sure that everyone participates. This is not about special interest groups. We're all special interest groups. We're all here at Hamlin. Okay, yellow, red, black, and white. I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm leaning for what's right. And I'll let my vice president-to-be introduce herself. Thank you.
My name's LeMay Ledoux, and I'm screeching the microphone apparently. I'm running for vice president for HUSC. And what we're going to focus on basically is community and costs, and you'll hear a lot more about this later, but we just want to address the students' problems basically. So hopefully with that kind of communication we can reach higher goals in the future.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, pass it down to the front. Let's try, are all the microphones turned off currently? Yeah. Okay, so maybe we'll try with each team having the microphone on when it's their turn to talk, and when it's not their turn to talk, turn it off, have the other person turn it on, and such as. I can. All right, and so now we are going to move into the formal question part of the debate. And so, again, I will start off asking the first question of the evening. And the first candidate team to answer this question is going to be Desiree and Katie. And the question is, which direction do you currently see HUSC heading towards? And where will it go if you are elected?
Yeah.
And remember, each candidate team, or each team, is it still buzzing?
A little bit.
Each team is going to have 1 minute to respond to the questions.
I am a junior. I've been here every year of my undergraduate career. And I am representative of a triple minority. I am a bisexual. I am African American. I am a woman. And I understand what it feels like to not be heard. And I understand what it feels like to not be represented on campus. So in that aspect of which I envision HUSC moving forward towards being the voice for all the students, being a place where everybody feels they can come to, because it's obviously not that now, like Don said, there's not that many people here. And so I plan on HUSC being more inclusive to everybody, and I plan on HUSC moving forward as in solving the problems that students like me, students like all of us have.
All right. Would you have a response, Katie?
That's good.
All right, excellent. All right, and now the team of Jenny and Alyssa.
To answer your question, Kyle, I think the direction HUSC is going to right now is progressing. Change does not happen overnight. It happens progressively. I realize that HUSC can do a lot more, and that's why we have in our statements that there's a lot of room for improvement. And it's kind of funny, like, when some of the candidates say, like, nah, people are being represented, but I personally haven't seen neither of them in GAs or in any situations where we're informing people. Also, where do I see HUSC going? I feel like HUSC is progressing each year. And with our 5 points of connecting, empowering, advocating, and collaborating, and informing the student bodies, I feel like I'm going into a great direction. And these points are here to direct us in that direction.
Just to follow up with what Jenny said, HUSC this year has laid a great framework for where we want to continue. We've had many special topic General Assemblies, but we want to dramatically improve that, so we bring administration in, and students get to directly voice their concerns to the administration. That's just something that we feel is very
Alyssa,
important.
you're out of time. I apologize. All right. And so now the candidate team of Don and LeMay.
HUSC is fine. I think President Dolan has done a good job over the last year. I don't think you have to tweak anything. But what I do think we need to do is bring more people to the table. The documents are there, the plan is there, we just need more student involvement. When I hear people talking about, well, we need to do this, or we did this last year, and we did this next year, and we did this it kind of reminds me of the Republican Party. And it kind of bothers me. And so let's be a little bit more progressive in our engagement with all the students on campus. But let's leave the tools that HUSC has in place right now for the student body as is. But let's use them in an effective way. We are all consumers. We pay a lot of money to go here. And if we weren't here, they would not be able to basically function. So we have a little...
Don, I'm sorry you are out of time.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
And so now this is going to be the part of the debate where the candidates are going to get to, I guess, take this debate into their own hands. So the first team that is going to get to go is Desiree and Katie, and they get to choose if they would like to have a minute rebuttal to anything any of their opposing candidate teams have said, or if they would like to ask one of the candidate teams a question. So Desiree and Katie, would you like to respond, or would you like to ask a question? All right, you have a minute.
So the first thing I'm going to be responding on is what one of the candidates said about not being at HUSC. Like I said, I've been here all 3 of my years, and I remember since then, I have never felt like I could be a part of HUSC, because it feels like, and I hear this all the time because I talk to people out, and I'm out in the student body getting to know people, that HUSC is very cliquey, and I felt like I wasn't part of that clique. So that would be one of the reasons why I have not been there. And like I stated today in the informal debate, another reason why I was not there is because I have a lot of time commitments, because like I said, many of Hamlin students are non-traditional students. And so we have lives outside of the few things that go here. We're parents, we have jobs, we have different things that we have to do, we have responsibilities. And because of that, at that time, I was not there. This year, I have more time in my schedule, which is why I'm working for the change that I've always wanted to see, but never had time for. The second thing, do I have enough time?
You have 10 seconds.
Administration. A lot of people feel like that she said something about the administration, and so we don't have really a lot of people are upset with administration, so being that bridge for them is the best way to go about what we need to do instead of
Thank you,
bringing them in.
Desiree.
Thank you.
All right, and so now the next presidential team, would you like to respond, or would you like to ask one of the teams a question? All right.
Jenny and I have had 2 years of experience working together on different projects like the HUSC Retreat, bylaws, constitutions for student orgs. This question is for both teams. Is that fair?
That is fair.
Okay, this question is for both teams. What experience do the two of you have working with one another on the same team?
All right, and each team will have 45 seconds to respond, and we will start with Don and LeMay.
All right, the experience that Don and I have together is we've had quite a few classes together ever since I was a freshman here. My first semester, we had class together. We're on the same major, English and education, so we're kind of on the same page there. We have a class together now. Last time, pretty much every semester we've had, so we've had a lot of time to talk with each other. That's how we know each other.
Well, if I have time to interject, I think I do a few
You have
seconds.
20 seconds.
Okay, with 20 seconds, there's no I in team. That's the oldest saying in the book, but, it doesn't matter. People are put together all the time that don't work together. I mean, that have never worked together. And that's part of the uniqueness of experience and diversity. By being two people put in a room that has never been together, never done anything together, I think those are wonderful outcomes.
Thank you very much. All right, and now Desiree and Katie.
Okay, so me and Desiree just met each other about a month ago when the semester started. We are completely different. She's traditional, I'm non-traditional. We are involved with different things, different organizations, completely different, which is more relevant to the student body of Hamlin. We want to represent everybody and not be inclusive to already being involved in HUSC and be able to broaden who HUSC can represent and make it aware to everybody, not just to who's involved in HUSC and who our friends are.
All right. Thank you very much. And now, Don and LeMay, would you like to respond or would you like to ask a question to one of your opponents? Absolutely.
Let me unpack this again. This morning I was hearing a lot of things about the bylaws and the Constitution and the retreats for HUSC. It was HUSC, 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 HUSC. What have you done for the student body that's reflected in this room tonight by the population here?
All right, and Jenny and Alyssa, you'll get a minute to respond to that question.
Well, what I've done outside of HUSC, I'm involved in several things. HUSC is not the only thing I'm involved with. I work with a lot of departments around the university. I work with the Hedgeman Center, I work with the Wesley Center, and I work with the student activities. I'm constantly going to trainings, Safe Zone training, Green Dot trainings that will prepare me to do a better job as HUSC Vice President. I've organized the Encore mini conference and participated in organizing the Social Justice Symposium last year, and I will continue to do that work. HUSC is not going to limit me to do work for the general population, whether it be diversity, leadership, or service. I will still remain to do those things that I love to do, including student government.
You have 15 seconds.
I guess I'm involved with the Hancock Elementary School, so I volunteer there, and I'm also the treasurer of Hand in Hand. So I have the experience of working on the student org section and not just the HUSC section.
All right, thank you very much. And so our second question that I will be asking is, what do you feel the current purpose of HUSC is in relation to this campus and the Hamlin community? And what do you think its purpose should be? And this question, the first team to answer will be Alyssa and Jenny.
So I'll answer the first part, Jenny will answer the second part. What HUSC's purpose is, according to the formality of it, we're supposed to promote a sense of community at Hamlin. So bringing all students together, not forming the cliquiness. We're supposed to act as a representative for all of students. So students can come to us and voice concerns, and that's our responsibility to bring that on to administration. We're also supposed to act as a body in which students can feel comfortable with and come and voice concerns. So all of those things really centralize around a community.
And what purpose it should have those and even more. I feel like HUSC has a lot of potential to grow in its responsibilities and its actions here at Hamlin. Right now, that's what it's supposed to do, but I think we can expand a little bit more and advocate the student needs personally a lot better in administration level.
All right, thank you very much. Don and LeMay. Absolutely. What do you feel the current purpose of HUSC is in relation to this campus and the Hamlin community? And what do you think its purpose should be?
All right, so HUSC right now to me seems like we're getting to the point where I want it to be, where a place where people can come, anybody, and voice their concerns or any problem that they may be having or something that they want to change. But how it is now, I feel like we need to have someone kind of between HUSC and the community, because right now the community is not really coming in, and we need to find a way to get them in here. So if we work as kind of a catalyst, we can hopefully then get them in here on their own accord, but for now, we kind of have to hold their hand a little bit.
Oh, that was great.
All right, excellent. All right, Desiree and Katie. Absolutely, no, I will repeat the question. What do you feel the current purpose of HUSC is in relation to the campus and the Hamlin community? And what do you think its purpose should be?
What I feel HUSC is right now, what it is that it is the definition of HUSC is supposed to be the voice for the students to get to solve problems, somewhere they can come to talk about the issues that they have on campus for the betterment of the whole Hamlin community. So HUSC right now, without saying what it should be, I'm gonna let my VP handle that, but what it is right now, it should be where people can come and voice their problems and their opinions, that they need to be the voice of the students up to higher administration.
Right now, I feel like HUSC is too concerned with student organizations and the budgeting for that, because that is one of their main goals and what they have to do. They have to manage the budgets and the different student organizations. That not everybody is part of a student organization. I've never been a part of a student organization. I've never had interest. I've never been asked. I've never known anything about it, being a non-traditional student that's not on campus all the time. I think we need to be more concentrated on the other missions of being more relevant to the entire student
Thank you
body.
very much. All right. And so now we're going to give Alyssa and Jenny the opportunity. They can either respond or ask a question to one of their opponents.
We're going to ask a question.
Absolutely.
This question is directly to Don. I feel like you've been very opinionated throughout the year about the different departments and organizations that have put up events on Hamlin. And I was just wondering, as the HUSC president, if you were to be elected, how would you accompany and invite them in, especially with the Midway community, because you voiced that this is not necessarily a very safe community. How will you encompass that with student and bring them into HUSC with student organizations and offer solutions rather than just voicing your opinion?
All right, and Don, you will have a minute to respond to the question.
I would need a point of reference to answer that question, first of all. I mean, if you're talking about the Oracle, is that what you're talking about? Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. You didn't say that. You know, voicing your opinion is an important thing. Have an opinion is an important thing. I just am fortunate enough and privileged enough to be hired by the great staff at the Oracle to have an opinion. Real world outside of this campus is important for students here, as well as the students that are conclaved in the different dorms here. You know, I'd be really interested to find out the graduation to job ratio, the graduation rate in general. And, you know, I do have serious concerns. And I think that if I'm in a position of leadership, such as the president of HUSC, I will not cow down to the administration, and I would say, hey, this is what needs to happen. I mean, it's our money, we're paying them, first of all. And I'm not here for, you know, just temporary. I'm here for the long haul, and it's just some things that need to be done, and I hope that clears anything up for you, since I didn't have a reference to the first part of the question.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. And now I think we're going to switch to, so all the candidates, you can turn your microphones off now. We're going to switch to and it will go to Don and LeMay next. And Don and LeMay, you can choose to ask one of your opponents a question or to respond. And what would you choose to do?
I'd like to ask a question of the team in the middle.
Okay, absolutely.
Testing 1, 2. You know, I asked you a question a minute ago, and I never really got an answer, but I got a really great pivot. Kind of they do that in politics all the time. And I would like to ask you, again, kind of two questions that you're going to answer together. What is the graduation rate for Hamlin University? And second, for HUSC specific, not outside of HUSC, what have you done for the student body?
I can answer that. The graduation rate, if you want to know that, I don't know off the top of my head, but you can definitely go to Resource Center, Career Development Center. I think you give that information, but I know we're really compatible. You compared us to U of M, how U of M had a higher rate of getting hired, which is not true. I've asked around, and the reason I came to Hamlin because it's up there. It's very competitive with U of M, and a student from U of M and Hamlin are very, they have really good education, both of them, and they're really qualified. In HUSC, as my position specifically, I've tried a lot, and my heart is to work with organizations because I'm the student organization committee chair right now, and a lot of my jobs include having all org meetings and bringing orgs together. And I tried my best to respond quickly to all orgs' questions. I've also put on events to get orgs to know each other and meet each other so they won't be strangers. I want to be a voice for the student organization. That is my position. That is my job. And I feel like I fulfilled that job, and orgs can feel a little bit more comfortable coming to me and with anything they might need. I right now.
Thank you very much, Jenny. Thank you. And we ask that the candidate teams only ask one question, if that's possible. All right. And so Desiree and Katie, you are up next. And would you like to respond, or would you like to ask a question? Absolutely.
This question can be either
are involved either in sports clubs or intramurals or in just varsity athletics in general. And nobody has really mentioned what to do for the athletes. And since they are such a big part of our campus, what do you plan to do? And I know that there's an athlete in Sat Chair, but what do you plan to do as president to represent and get them more involved with the student body as a whole?
And we'll have both candidate teams respond to this, and we'll start with Alyssa and Jenny.
One of the things I'm working right now, I'm actually working on transition documents for all orgs, and I've talked to Lamar Shingles, the one that heads over all the sports clubs, because I want to give them transition documents as well. Because even though they're not chartered by us, even though we don't direct what way they want to do events or any other orgs in that case, I want them to have those documents and those tools so they can proceed year to year and be consistent. Because I love sport clubs. The rock climbing club is amazing, and many more. And also to represent the athletes in general, I feel like we can have a more spirited school. And bringing the athletes to HUSC and making sure that we go to games and we support each other as well as they support us.
Reciprocation, as I mentioned in the informal debate, is huge. If we want people to come to HUSC, we need to go to them. So whether they're throwing events as a student org, we need to go there. If they're competing in events, or sporting events, we need to go there. We need to go to the basketball games. We need to go to the football games to show our support if we expect support back.
All right, thank you. And now Don and LeMay.
I'd just like to say representation is power. For full disclosure, when I first decided to run for president, or this meeting that we had a couple days ago, there was a couple athletes, male and female, that were going to run, and they're actually not at this table tonight. And so I sent out some signals and found out that the gentleman's GPA might not allegedly wasn't 3.0 or above per the bylaw of this election. So that puts in some serious concerns with the athletes we have here on campus. You know, how are we engaging with the football team, people in basketball, volleyball, soccer, and are those people coming to the table? Do they feel a part? I understand the club things, that's great. I mean, I really want to get the martial arts club here to just get that time, because I see them doing a lot of things, and they're really out there doing a great job. But, you know, there are students out there that really, the athletes that really need some attention, academic as well as social.
Thank you very much. All right, and so we're going to ask the next question, and the next question is, where does the current connection or relationship to the administration stand currently in your eyes, and where should it stand? And we'll start with this one with Don and LeMay.
Okay, that's an interesting question, because I talk about that all the time. There's a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect with an administration that wants to push diversity on the students. And if you look at the president's executive staff or president's staff, there's not much diversity there unless someone's from Ireland, Sweden, or Yugoslavia. So, you know, if you're going to push diversity on the students like that, you at least have to reflect that. There's a problem when you have, I think, one African-American English professor in the English department, when you have 0 Native Americans, when you have very few Asians or Hispanic Latino professors here. I think that represents a huge problem. So I'm trying to figure out what they're doing, what the plan is, because in the next 5 years, this campus, which sits not too far from the Midway, is going to change dramatically as far as demographics of the students that are in this place. It's going to come to a point.
Thank you very much. All right, and we'll have Desiree and Katie go next. Would you like the question to be repeated?
Yes, please.
All right. Where does the current connection or relationship to the administration stand currently in your eyes, and where should it stand?
I agree to a certain extent with what Don said, is that there is a huge disconnect between the administration and student body. Many students aren't happy with the administration. Personally, the ones that I've talked to, they're very unhappy with the way relations between them are, and they don't feel like the administration is really for them, which is why one of the things that I'm looking forward to as president is to being the bridge of the student body to the administration, since many of the students are unhappy with them or do not feel that they can approach them, which is why HUSC needs to be that general bridge so that people can bring their to, and which is why bringing administration to the general meetings would not help what, in my opinion, would not help because of the anger that might come out of that. So that's why HUSC needs to be that bridge, needs to be their representative of the students, and so for the students, they need to bring their issues to the administration.
All right, thank you very much. And Alyssa and Jenny.
So the relationship between HUSC and administration. Yes, it has not been good. It needs work. One of our points is to bring administration into GAs because students really want to connect with administration. They don't want to have to go to another student to go to administration. They want to see the administration have a presence on campus. And we feel HUSC can really encompass that. Another thing, we have Wendy Burns, the Director of Student Activities, and Dean Sickberg as resources for HUSC. They are our resources directly where we can go to them for any HUSC problem we have, anything. They're part of the administration, so if any student has a question related to HUSC or related to any administration, they can use those resources. So using the current administration more and then bringing in greater administration will really help bridge the gap between HUSC and administration, and student body and administration for that matter.
And also, I feel like administration does care, but they need to see your voice, your face, and this is proven because in our general topic GAs, where administration comes, it's well attended. So I feel like students do care and do want to.
Thank you, Jenny.
Directly.
All right, and now everyone's had a chance to answer the question, correct? All right, and so now we're going to go to Don and LeMay. Don and LeMay, would you like a minute to respond, or would you like to ask one of your opponents a question?
Yeah, I'd like to continue on the piece about the administration.
All right, you have a minute.
Thank you. I think it's important that us connect the student body and the administration. Right now, that's a tricky thing. That's a slippery slope. I think President Dolan has done a good job of bringing President Anson to the table, but I think there needs to be a little bit more of that, and there needs to be some changes. And I talked about the Hamlin plan earlier, there's a couple other things, and they need to be engaged with this. You know, we don't need to be fish in the fishbowl. Like, oh, they're swimming around and they're doing a good job. You know, there's a little bit more to it than that. So that's my 1 minute.
All right. Desiree and Katie, would you like to respond, or would you like to ask another team a question?
I'd like to respond, please.
All right, excellent. You have a minute.
Thank you. I don't think there's an issue between HUSC and the administration because they are overseen by lots of admin people, like you had said. There's no communication barrier there, not at all. But between students and admin, yes, that's where the issue is. That's where we need to make HUSC more relevant to the student body, to bring it back to the admin, to make the connections complete, instead of just having HUSC talk to admin. That doesn't make any sense because then only HUSC's voices are represented, not the full student body.
All right, and Alyssa and Jenny, would you like to respond, or would you like to ask another team another question?
We would like to respond.
All right, you have a minute.
You guys had just said that you think that students should go to HUSC to go to administration previously because that's the best way that administration will listen. Well, right now you just said that you don't think there's a communication gap between HUSC and administration. Obviously there is if students' voices aren't getting heard. We as a student body and as the HUSC representative of that student body, we need to be advocating for students' needs, whether it's our personal needs, but more importantly, what the student body as a whole needs. Whether that's going, I mean, for example, I met 9 times with administration for the RHA bylaw amendments. It was unclear what their role was. RHA needed a role on campus, especially in HUSC to voice concerns, and we are unsure. We're persistent, we're dedicated to work with administration, we really want that relationship.
In addition, that's like one of our main points. Let's cut that mid section of communication and bring it directly to the students. So students are not going to go to administration. We're going to make sure administration comes to students.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and so the next question. As candidates, you have brought up the idea that HUSC needs to be the voice of the students. If you were elected president, how would you bring students to General Assembly? And we'll start off with Desiree and Katie.
For one, when I've been talking to people, I've been out part of my campaign, talking to people, just getting around to Anderson, getting people to know me, getting people to know about HUSC, and
things of that nature. And one of the complaints to me is that one, people don't know what HUSC is, and for two, um, they don't know what HUSC is, so they don't know what I'm running for, which is also a problem. And so there's a complaint that people that do know what it is that HUSC is not relevant enough on campus. And the people that have been HUSC this year, like I said, HUSC is improvement. There's much more room for improvement. And so one of the big issues is that bringing somebody else in who knows these problems from an unbiased viewpoint of not being in HUSC, not used to the same things that are always happening, will greatly improve. And so for HUSC to be more relevant on campus, we need to, like she said, reciprocation. We need to go out to events. We need to see people and things of that nature. And so I'm already doing that. Present at basketball games, present at various organizations and meetings and things of that nature. So people know me, they know my face, and from there, that is how I'll make sure that those things happen.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Alyssa and Jenny.
I know we realize that HUSC sometimes can have a little bit of tension in GAs, and people are not really sure when to respond, when they can bring up points, and when they can't bring up points, because we do go right around those rules. So I want to inform the population and student body of what they are allowed to do and how they're going to participate in HUSC. I also want to make sure that HUSC is a very welcoming space, introducing every single person that comes to HUSC, whether it be if you're a representative or an exec board or this is the first time coming to HUSC. We want to make sure that everyone feels represented and is recognized as soon as you walk into that room. So that's just kind of some of our ideas. We do plan to bring HUSC sometimes in Anderson for special topic GAs, because we want to bring HUSC to students, not necessarily always students to HUSC, and just making sure that reciprocation. I do go to a lot of events as well as I'm involved in a lot of things that only enhance my participation, my goals, in HUSC as for running for VP.
All right, thank you. And Don and LeMay.
So one of the things, the basis of our campaign here is directly from the mouths of students. We both went around talking to people also in Anderson, things like that, out in the open, out in the wild. What are your concerns? And that's what we're bringing to the table. And also in the future, I feel like we have to meet in the middle somehow. I agree that students can't just come to HUSC. We also have to come to them, and this is how we're doing that. We are going out and trying to get them either excited or riled up about ideas they have or problems that they have, and providing a space where they can come and talk about those things. And by us reaching out, I think that will help us come together in the middle.
All right, thank you. All right, and so we will go back to, I believe it's Desiree and Katie. Desiree and Katie, would you like to ask a question of one of your opponents, or would you like to respond?
I guess I'll do a quick response.
Okay, excellent.
One of the things that was said is that one of the things the candidate said was that they want to recognize students, they come into HUSC, that they want to make sure that people feel they're a part of HUSC. But how can that be done when people don't know what HUSC is? Nobody's going to come to an event. If they don't know what HUSC is, then how are people going to come to the meetings? And for one, if people are coming to meetings now, shouldn't you already be welcoming them in? Shouldn't you already be doing all of these things? So that shouldn't be a change, that should already be happening, which is one of the issues. And also, if nobody knows what HUSC is, if people feel like HUSC is not relevant, they're not going to want to come to the meetings. So we need to make HUSC more relevant. We need to make sure that people know what HUSC is. We need to make sure we get our name out there, which if it is throwing more HUSC-related events, whatever needs to be done to get it done, to make sure that HUSC is even relevant, is what we can worry about bringing people in.
All right, thank you. Alyssa and Jenny, would you like to ask an opponent a question, or would you like to respond? All right, excellent. You have a minute.
Just to respond to that comment, I do that some already. This semester right now, we're gonna bring Spotlight Night, org Spotlight, and bring them in. I work personally with the orgs that come to GA. I have a point system that if you come to GA, I give you points towards your org, and if whoever wins that little competition gets $150 for the org. So I've been doing that a lot right now. But I don't run the meetings. I do my position, and I try to connect with all the orgs and try to invite them and inform me what's going on right now. But right now, I do not run the meeting. That is not my job right now. The administration has done a lot this year and has improved a lot since last year, because last year even more people did not know what HUSC is. So they've improved a lot. But like I said, there's always room for improvement. And I feel HUSC has become much more friendlier this year than it was in the past. Even myself, as being a first year in HUSC, I felt a little bit uncomfortable, and this year I feel way more comfortable just because I've stuck with it. Sticking with it is something really important, and I don't expect people to feel completely comfortable like right now in their first
Thank you very much.
I want them to come back.
All right, and Don LeMay, would you like to respond to another candidate, or would you like to ask a question?
I would like to respond.
All right, you have a minute.
I guess what I have to say is that, HUSC is not something that just started last year. And as the room dwindles down from 47 to around 28 people, it's important that we engage the larger body of students here. Not every student wants to be in an organization. I'm the president of the Veterans Organization. Not every veteran wants to be a part of the Veterans Organization here on campus, period. And so if we're going around and we're doing these pep rallies, and we're going to give this guy an award and this org and this guy $150 over here and this org, you're missing the vast majority of the students on this campus. You're virtually ignoring them, including events. Some of us are non-traditional. We have a young lady down there that has a 2-year-old and is a single mom. I have a couple of kids, real quick, almost done, and a wife and a mortgage. And sometimes I can't get here on a Sunday or Saturday night or during the weekday at 7 p.m. We have to move the students that are here on campus into...
All right, thank you very much. All right, and so the next question is going to be about another hot topic issue because it's been mentioned multiple times here tonight. It's about diversity. So in what role or what direction do you think HUSC should take in regards to diversity? And we're going to start with Alyssa and Jenny.
So HUSC has continued to be open and welcome, but I agree we are not the most open people. We aren't reaching out to all student orgs. As individuals, we are more accustomed to belonging to groups that are more similar to ourselves. HUSC needs to get out of its comfort zone. We need to stop just doing our general duties, going to GA, going to BER, going to our specific committees. We need to go out to the student body. We need to encompass all of the student orgs. Specifically, we have MA rep, we have the SAC rep, we have all the advocacy rep. We're moving in the right direction. We're getting different student orgs representatives in HUSC, and every chartered org has the opportunity to have a rep in HUSC, which is something we really want to build on. We really want every chartered org to have a voice in HUSC. So that's something that we're really trying to do that will encompass and get everyone's voice heard, or student orgs' voices heard.
And we also recognize that diversity does not mean only race and ethnicity or sexual orientation. It encompasses age, veteran status, nationality.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, Don and LeMay.
Oh my God, I'm black and no one likes me. Okay, let me explain something to you here. This diversity and putting it on students is crap. Okay, first of all, look at this room. You got people from different countries, different backgrounds. This is not our thing. HUSC, the diversity thing, HUSC does not even have to deal with that. That's not on the student body. This student body is diverse as hell, okay? Let's look at the administration. Let's make sure that we have professors that represent each one of these people in this room working in some chemistry, English, logic, which I hate, and some other things, okay? Let's do that. Let's turn it back around to them. Okay, I don't care if you're gay, straight, whatever, okay? I mean, that's irrelevant at this point. I'm just talking about this diversity thing. The diversity thing is not on the student body. It's not something we even have to be concerned with. It's BS, actually, okay? And the Hamlin student body is a very diverse body. There's no race wars. I'm not getting ready to go fight with a bunch of white guys in the bathroom. A bunch of brothers ain't gonna gang up on.
All right, thank you, Don.
Okay, come on.
All right, and Desiree and Katie.
So you have spoken on how HUSC needs to leave their comfort zone. I know the answer is HUSC. It's the entire Hamlin community. still form cliques. It's not really diverse because look at the tables around here. Like, it's ridiculous how much we stay with the people that we're surrounded by and who we can be similar to and who we can relate to and what we can do in this community. And if we all come together and try and separate the cliques a little bit and try and separate the orgs and get different orgs involved with other orgs and kind of bring them together more, then it will make a lot more diversity and you'll be around diversity. Right now, I'm not around diversity. I'm not involved in any of the clubs. I don't know a single name in here. Honest to God, I do not know anybody here except for a professor and somebody who's in my class. That's all. And that's right. But we don't all come together. We need to come together more, and then our campus will actually be diverse.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and now Alyssa and Jenny, it's your turn. You can either respond to a statement one of the candidates have made, or you can ask a question.
I would like to respond. I completely disagree with you, Don. I think diversity is everybody's, should have an input on everything. Administration, yes, I feel like it could be more diverse, but honestly, you're not going to be able to hire the professors you want of color or national origin of a different country. You don't have that power because we don't have that money to do that. And I feel like being in HUSC and having, and like I do agree with some of the comments that some candidates have said that that we need to educate, and all the student body needs to be a little bit more open and less cliquey, and inviting them to, you know, safe zone training, green dot training, leadership trainings that really encompass you and force you to get out of your comfort zone. I've gone to many leadership trainings, diversity training, service learning trips that make you get out of your comfort zone, and I want to extend that opportunity to everybody that comes to HUSC and everybody in the student population, because there's great opportunities that will allow you to get out of your comfort zone. And I plan to voice that a lot in making sure they are aware of the opportunities that Hammond already has to get away from your comfort zone, because that's a good thing.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Don and LeMay, would you like to ask another question, or would you like to respond?
I'd like to respond.
All right, you have a minute.
About this team, this young lady just said here. First of all, we do have the power, we do have the money. I don't know about you, but I think there's like 40 grand or something. You know, I'm a veteran, I'm a Chapter 31 veteran, and I served this country for 3 years, 79 to 81. I was in Grenada rescuing medical students when they were trapped by rebels that were 14 years old. I saw a couple of guys with their heads blown off, and it was pretty serious. And so I did a lot of interesting things, but one thing I understand, you have political clout to change anything, anywhere, at any time. To give up and say that, okay, we don't have the power and the money, that's not real. Because I'm sure if 500 students signed a document, that the White House has to respond to 500 signatures, President Hansen has to respond to 200. Okay? Let's keep it real without the mouth liquor right now. Okay? What needs to happen here, we need to set up some strategic planning to outreach to the administration. You have to be cordial, diplomatic, and all that, of course, but you have to be intentional about it, and you can't be gun shy, scared, or cow down when they tell you something.
Thank you, Don. All right, and Desiree and Katie, would you like to respond to another candidate's statements, or would you like to ask another question? All right, and you have a minute.
So, just responding on the diversity topic. Both of the candidates made, both of the other teams made really great points. But the more pressing matter at hand is that I understand that HUSC is doing more for diversity and all of these said things, but people don't feel as they are, and that is the issue. The issue is that HUSC has been doing things the same way over and over again, and it has been, and while it has been proven under Lucas and Corbin, it can get better. And so bringing in somebody with a new viewpoint, bringing somebody in that's not used to the way that HUSC does things, and coming in and cleaning house and doing all those said things and looking at it in an unbiased, new and revitalized way is the best thing for HUSC at this moment. So, bringing, like I said, bringing in new and revitalized looks for people that are not used to the way that HUSC does things.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and we have our final question of the evening from myself. And this one will go to Don and LeMay. And all the candidates have talked a lot about this evening about bringing students to HUSC, which is a wonderful thing. But I want to ask the candidates specifically to answer a situation that we've had happen in Hamlin this year. we've tried to create a commuter committee to get commuter students involved. However, unfortunately, the committee was unable to provide, or there was not enough excitement and involvement in the commuter committee. What would you do to better connect the commuters to the Hamlin community and HUSC itself?
So, we're both commuters, and I feel like there's a fallacy in just trying to create a community on campus of commuters. Because when I knew they had meetings, I knew about it, but I wasn't here for them. Like, I was at my house. I live like 40 minutes away. I'm not going to drive up here just to do that. So I think to create excitement, either you can find a way, perhaps off campus, to connect these people, and then they themselves can get together and plan something, but just having it planned for them is not really going to work, because schedules are all over the place.
Planning for commuters should probably be done by commuters. It's just kind of common sense.
All right, and we'll go to Desiree and Katie.
So the question, can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. So, again, being that this commuter committee is no longer relevant in HUSC, what would you and your administration do to better connect the commuters to the Hamlin community and to HUSC as well?
Well, first, we need to talk to commuters. We need to know what commuters want, what their needs are. If they feel like HUSC is going to do something for them, if we talk to them about why they're not on campus, if we talk to them about why they're involved and get these answers from them, we can't make really decisions for commuters without knowing their needs and their wants. If we talk to them and we see what their problems are, if we let them know that we'll work on those problems, that'll get them excited. Because if I talk to somebody and they say, hey, I'm going to do this for you, that gets me excited, that gets me wanting to come. So we need to reach out to the commuters. And then from there, know what they want, listen to what their problems are. And then in itself, the problem will take care of itself.
All right, thank you so much. And Alyssa and Jenny.
Okay, I'm a commuter, but it's not fair because I live very close here. But just along the commuter committee lines, we did have commuters in the commuter committee, but I'm sorry, the leadership of the commuter committee failed. It strictly was the leadership because they did not reach out to all of the commuters or use the vast majority of the resources available to them. So yes, reaching out to commuters is what we need to do. Who better knows what commuters need than commuters? We need to establish what their needs are, and we can't decide that for them.
And I'm also a commuter. I live in South St. Paul now because I just recently moved. So it's kind of quite a commute, and it takes me a long time to get here. But in addition to having a commuter committee, we need to connect to the department that's in charge of commuters. Lacey, student activities right now is in charge of commuters, and we need to partnership. We have a capital improvement fund that we can use to specifically have give resources or give a space or give initiatives, incentives, for commuters to stay here longer. We need to connect with those people that are already doing some work, and we do need to reach out, like Alyssa said, to more
Thank you, Jenny.
commuters.
All right. And now, candidates, this will be your final time to be able to respond freely on your own. You can either choose to respond again or ask a question, and we'll start with Don and LeMay.
Are we still on the commuter thing?
This is completely in your hands. Other than your closing statement, this is the last time you'll be able to respond on your own. So you can ask a question or you can respond to the commuter issue.
I just want to
Absolutely.
get this commuter-
You have a minute.
commuter thing in the bud. The commuter lounge down there in the basement of the hub is now the Veterans Lounge, and if you drive here from 7:45 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, there's free coffee, orange juice, milk. I might let you get some of my Frosted Flakes. You're welcome to come down there at any time. It's open, and coffee is, like I said, it's free. And I just, the commuter thing is important, but there's things like that are issues, but kind of are non-issues, because wondering why a commuter isn't on campus is like, okay, might have an apartment away from here, a house, a family, or things like that, things we shouldn't even really get into. And then if they want to come to the table, they can.
And the last thing I just want to say is, like, we're talking about the commuters, like, connecting with other commuters. I find it important for commuters to connect with everybody as a whole, because I feel like all my friends are commuters, and people on campus, I don't know what's going on, besides the newsletter you get. But there's, like, other small things that go on, and I know they do, but I miss them. So that's my concern as well. Just
Thank you very much. All right, Desiree and Katie, would you like to ask a question of one of your opponents, or would you like to respond?
I'll respond to the commuter stuff.
Okay, you have a minute.
Okay. The commuters being connected to HUSC, I don't think is the number one concern with connection here. I think that paying more attention to the general student body instead of just commuters or specific groups is the most important thing. Having everybody involved is important. Commuters are not the number one concern here, I don't think, connection issues.
Would you like to continue or no?
Well, yeah, exactly what she said. That it's not the biggest. If we focus on the student body as a whole, then commuters will find their way. We will obviously target all of them. So.
All right, thank you very much. Alyssa and Jenny, would you like to ask a question of your opponent or respond?
We'll respond.
All right, you have a minute.
Going off of what Don said, there are resources available for veterans, and we want to create a space like that for commuters. We really want to actually create a support system, not necessarily a space, not necessarily free stuff, but a support system for if commuters are facing problems, they're finding meetings that aren't convenient for them, going to other commuters, going to administration with these problems and going like, how can I fix this? I just need someone to talk to. I need someone to vent with. I need someone who's familiar with my problems. A support system is really lacking in this area, and that's what we really want to create.
And also, I'd just like to add, coffee is not the reason I came to Hamlin. I'm a commuter as well, and like that is not a big thing. I don't even drink coffee. I drink water, no juice, no diet, water. And I feel like we can offer more to commuters, and because we have the funds to do that, and to do a lot of more capital improvements for like a lot of groups.
All right. Thank you, candidates, very much for participating in the debate. And now we are going to open it up to a formal question and answer segment. I would like to introduce two members of my PAC committee, Tate and Evelyn, and they will have microphones on both sides of the room. Now, everyone, don't jump. Only one mic. All right. So since
Can we just talk loudly?
They won't do that.
Don, do you all feel comfortable with that? Talking loudly if we... All right, so we're going to have all the candidates talk very loudly. And once... we'll have Tate and Evelyn on each side of the room. And please, if you want to ask a question, come to Tate and Evelyn. Don't make them come to you. So please come to them if... So they'll just be where they are currently. Just line up behind them to ask your question. And there's only one for each time you want. If you want to ask multiple questions, that's fine. But you cannot ask them. You have to go in the back of the line for each question you want to ask.
Great. You answered my first question already. How many questions do we have?
You have one.
So, first question. A lot of talk has been said about the relationship between administration and other students. Will the candidates, all of them, will they show, well, Lucas and Corbin had a lot of contact with the administration this year, and they worked really hard to build out that relationship between HUSC and the administration. So how will each of the candidates, will you show due respect to the administration when you meet with them, even if you have, or even if you disagree with something they're doing or you have a suggestion, will you show due respect to them when you're in their presence just because they are a member of the administration?
Each team will have 45 seconds to respond, and we'll start with Desiree and Katie.
Of course, that we'll be able to show respect for them. I think it's really great that there's been so much, such an improvement on the relationship between the administration this year and us. And I feel like we should use that from there. If we increase the relationship between us and the students, then, like my VP said, that's the bridge. Like, if us has such a great relationship with administration, from there, all we have to do now is reach out to students, and now the students have a place where they can bring it to us, and then come from there to the administration. So
That's actually really good. Like I said, I'm really happy about the administration that relationship in. But of course, my own personal qualms won't be voiced. It's me speaking for the people. So my own personal feelings, even if I disagree, is not.
Thank you, Desiree. All right. And for filming purposes, we need the microphone. So now everyone who has a question, please line up behind Evelyn right over here to ask your question. But now, Alyssa, you may respond.
Thank you, Amin, for your question. To answer it, yes,
just takes time. It's not something that just changes overnight. So we want to continue to build.
You have 10 seconds.
And also, we work a lot with administration around. We were both student workers, so when we work with some administration, having that relationship already is going to be only to our benefit.
All right, and Don and LeMay.
Yeah, I think it's important to show respect for positions and to build a relationship of trust between both parties. But as you know, respect is earned, but you just don't go in there with a loose cannon and you deal with it. But, you know, be cordial and diplomatic and, you know, get what you need, basically, for the student body.
And I feel like since I'm coming from a perspective where I'm going to be a teacher in the future, and I feel like I would want students to respect me, obviously, so I would do the same, but I would also want them to challenge me in a respectful manner. So if there was a concern that students were really pushing for, I would advocate for it in a respectful manner. I would push.
All right, thank you very much. And if we could have the next question.
You all spoke to getting more people involved in HUSC and at the GAs and, of course, at something like this. How are you going about doing that and getting more people involved with HUSC and all of their events?
All right, and we'll start with Alyssa and Jenny, and each team will have 45 seconds to respond.
I feel like a lot of the ideas of how to get people there is food. I feel like that's a little bit false. I feel like if people care about the stuff that is presented, they will come regardless if there's only water or if there's pizza involved. And I feel like where there's special topic GAs, that has been proven. We didn't have food there. People came because they cared about the topic that was spoken of. And we had a full room in both of the GAs that we did special talks with. So bringing more of those things. And of course, if any big issue comes around, like the year before that, we had the marriage amendment, and we had to talk to the administration. And that room was filled, it was packed. So doing more stuff like that. So thank you for your question, and we do definitely plan to bring more.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, and Don and LeMay.
How do you plan to get more people to attend, like the debate or GA, as you spoke to the room being pretty empty tonight?
And you have 45 seconds to respond.
Thank you. That's a great question. Both parties, or what this young lady spoke to earlier, is important, but also we have to use the resources. The first question I think was up about showing respect for the administration. One thing that this college can do, or this university can do that's very good, is use the marketing department. You know, Dean Sickberg's administrative assistant can email every student on this campus. And if we need to do that multiple times, then we need to do that. If we need the marketing department to be flashing things and the TV screens a little bit longer, but we also need that grassroots level, those people in HUSC to go out and shake hands and talk to people who they normally just walk by. I'm not saying Mr. Dolan or Mr. Corbin or anything like that, because they've done a great job and I commend them.
Thank you. All right, and we are going to go to Desiree and Katie.
And 1 second before you begin, we're going to switch out mics because that one's really bad. Thank you.
And you'll have 45 seconds to respond.
Okay. Pretty much just getting out and reaching it to the students and showing that HUSC is involved in the different organizations and what they're doing and the games and stuff like that. And then to speak about the GAs and how you guys have done that in the past, I have never once heard about going to any of the assemblies. I don't really look at all of the words in the emails, but I honestly have never even heard about the special topics except for the gay marriage amendment. We talked about it in class. That was a big deal with President Hansen and the debacle about what it was about. But that's the only time I've ever heard about it when it was a very relevant issue. And I've never heard about any other issues that have been relevant to me or to anybody I've been around or any classes where it has been brought to my attention.
All right, thank you. And we'll go on to the next question.
There's a lot of pizza left too, and there's more in the kitchen. So.
All right, there's a lot of pizza left. So if you guys are hungry, feel free to grab an extra slice, and we'll go to Jeremiah for the question.
Pizza for everybody. Pizza for everybody.
Hi everyone, my name is Jeremiah. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you all for being here. My question is, what is your biggest personal hurdle that you will have to overcome if elected into office, either president or vice president? And this is to all the candidates.
All All right, and we'll start with Don and LeMay.
Okay, biggest personal hurdle for me, I'm super introverted. I don't even like emailing people, or answering the phone. Don knows this. I'm really bad at that, but I'm willing to know if I have the responsibility to do so, I'll do it. Like, I'll email people, I'll talk to people, I will network. I'm going to be a teacher, I got to do it anyway, so I will go the distance for that.
Yeah, I guess my personal hurdles would be time management and juggling, which I do both well. Good. So, yeah.
All right, and we'll go to Desiree and Katie next.
I'm thinking my best. Well, can you repeat the question? My bad, because I was about to answer a different question. Personal hurdle. That's what I thought you said. Okay. Thank you for your question. My answer to that would be my biggest hurdle. I feel like would be is not getting out there and talking to people, not being involved, but the public speaking aspect of it. Because the whole time I've been sitting up here, my hands have been sweating really bad. I'm pretty sure everybody that's touched the mic is probably upset, and I apologize. So I'm really horrible at public speaking, but I'm here. I was at the informal debate. I'm out talking to people, and I'm introverted as well. I'm out talking to people, shaking hands, talking to people, asking them what they feel about HUSC and how they should vote. If not, even for me, just vote in general and be involved in HUSC. So I'm overcoming that. Sorry for the sweaty mic, guys.
My biggest hurdle, quick, is just getting more involved with the games and stuff like that that's actually going on at campus, because I've never really been involved with any of it.
Thank you, Katie. All right, and Alyssa and Jenny.
I'll be fast because Jenny has to respond also. My biggest hurdle is also going to be time management like Don. We're very involved individuals, but I'm the type of person that I thrive on a busy schedule. I love it. I can't do without it. So being involved and having all of this stuff on my plate, I thrive. I will do my best like that. So yes, it'll be a challenge getting everything in order, knowing when I have to be places, but I'll thrive.
My biggest hurdle is how I'm going to pack this year full of really interesting GAs and make sure that you guys will all come, because I have a lot of ideas. I've heard a lot of ideas from talking to people, so that's going to be my biggest hurdle. How am I going to pack all this and only once a week? Maybe we should do like twice a week.
All right, thank you very much. And we'll have our next question.
So first I'd like to go and say that I'm really proud and excited that there's actually 3 sets of candidates up here debating over and fighting over the whole decision to president and vice president. I think that's one of the greatest bits of success that Lucas and I can walk away with, and our heads held high. But you'll see me at least 3 more times tonight. Honestly, the most important thing that I want to know from all of you, and what you all been talking about, both in the formal debate and the informal debate, Desiree, you had mentioned, you were talking, what you love that you've been talking about is a conversation that I've been knowing that's been going on inside of SAC, which is generally all of the athletics are having the same problem. How do we get people to come to games and things of that nature? This is I think this is a problem that is represented in all of the organizations, not just us. So my question for all of the candidates is, how are you going to not only motivate yourselves, but how are you going to motivate your reps to be present? Because honestly, the 2 of you are not going to have enough hours in the day to even pretend like you guys can go places and be there and be the face. The reps are also going to be responsible for that. But on top of that, how are you going to motivate the student body to want to be a part of us, to want to be a part of the overall conversation, which is how can we all work together to get us all to come to more of our stuff?
All right, and so we'll start with Desiree and Katie.
So the logistic. Thank you for your question. It's a really good question. The logistic of your question is you're asking how to get people to come to games, right? Basically. Okay, so the first thing is that the first thing I would say is that I'm definitely going to be involved. Myself, speaking of going down the list that you said, myself, I'm pretty much at every basketball game that there's ever been. I love basketball. So I only missed a few. It's because I'm sick and things of that nature. And so executive board-wise, I will be getting people into the exec board who are willing to do the same things, coming with fresh ideas that I am coming with, to be able to get people more involved. So with a new outlook, just like the outlook that I have. And third, with representatives, showing them that, me doing those things, leading with a good example is the biggest thing. So if I'm doing these things, then I'm going to have my hope in that the people underneath me will do the same things as well. So leading, showing them the right way to go about things is the best way to do that, to motivate them to want to do better. If I'm doing better, then they will do better.
All right, thank you. And now Alyssa and Jenny.
Thank you, Corbin, for your question. To answer your question, we're going to need help. We're going to need help from administration, from different departments, maybe talking to Res Life and see if we can get like a point for every sport events that they go to. And I know they'll go because room selection is tough out here. So we definitely want to have some initiative, like some incentive, not initiative, some incentive, to get these people to go, whether it be representatives or the general student body. We need some incentives. We need to make it hype. We need to make the school more, have more school spirit, have more Piper pride, because I am very proud of my school, and I would want to reflect that on the Student Congress.
All right, and Don and LeMay.
Just real quick here, because I think LeMay has something to say. I think that's a marketing approach. Number one, I think that's a representation approach to get the student body involved. It's a lot harder, you obviously know that, but there are different ways, and I'm not one to give my goods out just right on the table for everybody to do, but there are ways to get students motivated to be a part of this. But a part of it, like I said, HUSC is fine, but there's some engagement that needs to be done on some other levels to engage the whole student body.
And speaking on those different levels, I think the thing we need to focus on is relevancy. What do people really care about?
Thank you, LeMay. All right. And so we'll go on to the next question. And also, I just want to remind people asking questions that the way you're doing it is fine. We can have each team answer the questions, or you can ask individual questions to the candidate teams. But we'll go with the next question.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Bowman, and I have a question for Don. I've read your article about Hedgeman, and I've heard your opinions on diversity tonight. And I'm a member of a lot of MA organizations, and I'm also a board member of Spectrum. So contrary to your belief, I do think that diversity is a very relevant student issue here at Hamlin. And I'm wondering how I can trust you to listen and validate the needs of organizations that are based on diversity if you are elected as president.
All right, and Don, you will have a minute to respond.
When I am elected as president, I will have the utmost respect for your organizations, but looking at the broader picture, there are more than just singular organizations that stand in silos. The student body as a whole has to be considered, has to be looked at and dealt with as a whole. And these groups, there's some fringe groups out on the side that probably need to be pulled in, and there's some groups that are sitting on kind of a plateau that need to be leveled off a little bit to be engaged with the rest of the student body. I think everybody's message is important, and no one's message is no important than some other people. So, there's some big I's and little U's going on campus with some organizations, and part of what I want to do is I want to calm that. I don't want to eliminate it, because I think a little bit of tension is good for some organizations, but yet we have to look at the broad picture of the whole student body.
All right, thank you very much. And the next question.
To the candidates who haven't been to, Des, Katie, and then Don and LeMay, what motivated you to apply for the HUSC president and vice president positions, even though you hadn't come and been involved with HUSC so far, and why? I guess I'm asking, what is it, will you keep being involved with HUSC even if you do not get elected? Because is it your push for believing in HUSC, or is it that you want the position of president and vice president?
So which question do you want us to answer?
The second one. Will you continue to be involved with us even if you do not get elected?
Well, in a minute, I'm going to answer both questions. I decided to run because there's an infrastructure in HUSC right now that is prevalent at this table, at this debate that, is privileged to information that the other candidates are not privileged to. And I said, you know what, I should run just for the heck of it, because I have been involved in HUSC. I put the printing thing on the table, and no one ever got back to me, And I put the Hamlin plan. I talked about that. No one ever, well, Mr. Dolan got back with me, but, he delegated like he should have, and that person never got back to me. So I says, okay, this is enough. And I'm the type of person that says, if no one's going to, you got to do it for yourself. And yeah, I will be involved even after this, because I know if Desiree wins, I'm going to be on her board, okay? And if I win, she's going to be on my executive committee. So, and so on. So with that said, it's important to get involved at any level. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. And yeah, I decided to do this because it was important to me and relevant.
All right, and thank you very much. And we'll go to Katie and Desiree. The question, I believe, was, will you what will your involvement in HUSC be if you are not elected?
Didn't he ask to? Okay.
He was only allowed to ask one. Don answered both of his questions, but he can only ask one question, and he asked two, so we made him choose, and he picked that one.
What motivated me to run for HUSC was that I never, like I said earlier in the debate, I haven't had time to in the future. I mean, in the past, in the future. And now that I have time. Now I have time for the change that I want to see in Hamlin. Now I have time to make Hamlin what I feel like more of the student body, more people that I've talked to want to see in Hamlin. And so, yes, I'll still be involved. Now that I have time to, specifically this semester, have time to. I plan to be involved. I plan on speaking, even if I'm not involved. I still plan on coming to GAs and still trying to do what I'm here to do now. Vice president and being president would allow me to have more power to do those things, but even being a lesser still after that will still allow me to help to see the change that I want to see.
All right, thank you very much. And we'll have the next question, It's I believe that was just for the two candidates who are, yeah. You can, Alyssa and Jenny, would you like to respond to that? Yeah, then you may respond. You have a minute.
Well, I've talked a lot about this with Alyssa, and I don't actually believe in the hierarchy of power. I feel like if you're involved, you will make a change because your voice will be heard. And I feel like we've done a lot, and actually I just want to point this out that things are being addressed. It's always not immediately. Like I said, change does not happen overnight. And actually one of our representatives is in the printing committee, and she has had meetings with administration to work on this and make like 10 cents adds up every single page. So we're working on this. Change doesn't happen over time, and we want to make sure that it happens though, and we do take in consideration any other complaints that students have in HUSC or outside of HUSC.
All right, and then we'll go with the next question.
Is printing fee important? Explain.
All right, and we will start with Desiree and Katie.
That's a great question, George. That's really nice how you put it. Printing is important because it affects everybody on campus, and especially creative writing majors, me, myself, legal studies majors who have a lot of stuff to print off. Like I said, I wasn't aware that somebody on the team was already in HUSC that was working on printing. I don't think anybody is aware of that outside of HUSC. And so from there would be to see how that process goes this year and to build on that, to see what exactly they're working on to do right now, and also to see where it will go and how we can build up on that, not just for printing, but for costs for all students, so with loans, etc. So it's not just about printing, it's about costs for students in general.
All right, Alyssa.
I will definitely have to agree. Printing is very important to students on campus, and HUSC is currently addressing those issues. Like Jenny said, change doesn't happen overnight. Hamlin just can't say, okay, every student has $50 in a month. It's a process, and HUSC is really looking out for students' needs by having actually 2 students on the printing committee working with administration right now in the BER and advocating for student needs, because printing does add up and it gets expensive for students on top of tuition already. So yes, we also want this printing budget thing too, but you can't expect it overnight.
And I just want to add that most schools already have a printing fee if you use it or not. So I personally, that's my personal opinion, that I agree that we should have this printing, but doesn't necessarily say that's going to be happen. If
Thank you very
people
much,
want
Jenny. All right, and we'll go to Don LeMay.
There's 1,808 students that will not graduate from Hamlin, that will drop out, that have printing fees, that their transcripts will not be transferred because of that printing fee. So I think it is important that every academic year, every student at Hamlin, undergrad and grad, receive a $100 printing credit on their accounts.
Totally agree with that. And if this issue is being worked on, but I don't think people are aware of this. I certainly was not. So if we can get updated on that, that would be my concern at the moment with it.
All right, thank you very much, and we'll go to the next question.
Hi everyone. I appreciate you taking it easy on me tonight. I was expecting a little bit more fire than that, but anyway, one of the things that I want to bring up and what I've learned from being president of this organization is that it's a lot easier to tear down than it is to build up. And so I think that all of the candidates tonight have done a really great job of identifying problems and also with throwing out some really big ideas. But what I really want to know is how are you going to do it? So I've heard some claims such as uniting everyone on campus, having this printing fee built in, bringing in commuters, changing the Hamlin plan, showing everyone what HUSC is. And I just say that also last year when we were in this room, a lot of the same issues came up, and we did have the room packed. And so I'm just curious, it takes a lot of effort to do these things. And so what actual steps are you going to take, and why are you the people who have these skills? And I know for some of you too, if you're saying like, I don't know about this or that on campus, I haven't been involved in these things, how are you going to build a coalition and work around those things? So really the question is, how are you going to do it?
All right, and we'll start with Alyssa and Jenny.
We do have these 5 points, and this is how we're planning to accomplish everything that has been mentioned here. Specifically for printing, for getting people involved, we want to collaborate. We know that HUSC usually consists of about a little bit less than 30 members, and this is a university with a little bit over 2,500 undergrad students. So we're definitely going to need some help. We're going to need some help from administration, from certain departments pertaining to like certain issues. So printing, we're definitely going to have to work with like financial aid and see if they can incorporate that into a fee, so we don't have to pay it up front. That is definitely doable. So bringing in other people that can help us and have the tools and have the seniority to accomplish our goals. Do you want to add something?
Yes, just collaboration. We realize that HUSC can't do this on our own. We need administrative report and student body support, so we really want to collaborate with everyone on campus, students, faculty, staff, administration, everyone. We need everyone's help in order to accomplish these goals.
All right, thank you. Don and LeMay.
President Dolan, I think you asked the question, how? And I told you earlier, 1,808 students are not going to graduate. They'll drop out from Hamlin, and they have some concerns. And part of that, and I discussed earlier, was the Hamlin plan. And that's one of my platforms I'm going to stand on. If I was going to connect, empower, advocate, collaborate, and inform, what I would do is use their numbers, not against them, but to show proof that if you're an English major, you shouldn't necessarily have to take natural science. You shouldn't necessarily have to take art class, or even logic for that matter, which I hate. And so, with that said, that money is not a loss for Hamlin. So what I have to do as president of HUSC with my executive committee is come up with a plan and use their numbers to show that, hey, this English major, yeah, you want a well-rounded liberal arts individual, that's kind of graced in every subject, but maybe
Thank you very much, Don. All right, and we'll go to Desiree and Katie next.
Question, please. Can you just real quick?
What are you going to do?
How in regards?
So what I basically said was that there's been a lot of identifying problems, and there's been a lot of big solutions and big claims being made of what you can actually accomplish in this role. But how are you going to do it? Why are you the person to do it?
Thank you. why am I the best person for this role? First off, is that of being president, you need to know people on campus. People need to know you. People need to feel like they can come talk to you. And I'm an introvert, but I have a big friend. Well, people know me. People come to talk to me. And I've talked to a lot of people today, and people know my face. And they know that they can talk to me, for one. And for two, that is why, and because I know I'm in a student body, I've been here, I've had these conversations with people, this is why I know where I can go from there. And what the biggest thing of doing to start, for one, like I've been saying this, and it's like we need to make HUSC more relevant. We need to get HUSC out there. It's infuriating for me to go tell people I'm running for president of HUSC, and they say, "What is HUSC?" That's infuriating. And so, if, like I said, like if you're, it hasn't happened in the past. It has happened in the past, and it's been getting better, but it just needs to be done at a bigger scale. HUSC needs to be everywhere, all the time, everywhere. Executive representatives, executive board.
Thank you very much. All right.
All right.
And we'll go to the next question.
My next question is, throughout tonight, I've heard multiple of you talk about the different leadership positions that you've been involved in, whether within HUSC or outside of HUSC. And my question is, you all mentioned various leadership positions that you've held, but how much value do you place on personal integrity and character, which you will use to build your executive board as well as to build your organization? And this is to all the teams.
All right, and we'll start with Don and LeMay.
So I think you could have a million leadership positions under your belt, but if you're not a personable kind of person, it's not going to get you very far. And I feel like you need to bring a sort of, we're going back to grassroots, like casual way to bring these people into something more serious. So having that connection with people, going out, talking to them, having a sense of humor, making people laugh, I feel that's really important, that kind of characteristic.
Just real quick here, I've been in business for myself since 2010, and you know, it's all a matter of who you deal with and what you format and the people you have around you and how they function. You function as a team and how you function individually to get the mission done. A lot of people have different ways of doing things, but it's always to the same end or the same goal. And as long as you let people work within their means, I think, you know, you can be pretty successful, even for us.
All right, thank you. And Desiree and Katie.
When it comes to personal character and integrity, I just think that if you show that off on the people that are also in HUSC, that are below you and that you need to show leadership to, just if anybody shows anything unethical or something that is different than your own character or you think is wrong, then express that and make sure that everybody is under the same moral code and ethical code and everybody's on the same page with it.
All right, and Alyssa and Jenny.
We value personal integrity and character higher than we value leadership positions. People will respect you if you carry yourself in a high moral standard, and that is the most important. If people need to trust you, and if you can't portray trust to someone else, they're not going to come talk to you. Yes, leadership may be important in communicating matters to other people, but no one's going to communicate anything to you without trust, and trust comes with a high moral standard.
I think a lot that comes with integrity is following through, and this is something that we really are focusing on, and following through everything that we do, and making sure that people are getting responded to not only adequately, but quickly, because we are busy students here at Hamlin. Everybody's involved in different things. As far as character, we want, like some candidates have said, we want somebody that's personable, that's somebody that's already involved. If we're elected or not, we're going to still continue to do the things we do and connect with students. This is not limiting us. This is only helping us to advocate for students.
All right, thank you very much, and we'll go on to the next question. I believe we have the room till 11, so the cutoff time could be, but
I was worried I was going to have to shorten all of my questions down because I finished time.
we do have a candidate who does have somewhere to be, but as far as I know, even if that candidate chooses to leave, we can still continue.
So I was going to ask a different question about time, but Don, I'm deeply concerned. As someone that works for admissions, I happen to play a lot, or not play with, but I know a lot about the numbers, about the amount of students that come into Hamlin. So for an example, if my memory isn't terribly failing, Nico can probably back me up on this, as he's probably even higher up in admissions than I am, but there is roughly about 2,167 students that go to Hamlin. And if I'm not mistaken, you said that there are 1,888 students that are going to fail out of Hamlin.
And let me quote my source here. I'm looking online at a national college ranking that looked at Hamlin over a 4-year period and said that 1,808 students will drop out of Hamlin that will not graduate. That's why the graduation rate is 65%.
The graduation rate at Hamlin is 80%, or sorry, 80.4%. The job placement, which you had asked about before during the informal debate, is closer to 67%. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers on that.
If I could find that somewhere, I think that would be very helpful with facilitating.
It's a quick Google search. I did it this afternoon right after.
Is it on a Hamlin-based
yes,
website?
Hamlin-based and the ones outside.
I'd like to hear I'd like to see the Hamlin-based.
I hear you have an iPad in front of you. That's not
Yeah, I just Googled it, didn't come up.
The question that I have for you, Don, is if you have you're pulling numbers, it appears that you're pulling numbers out of thin air. And I'm concerned that as the president, that you would do these things. Could you answer as to how you will make sure that you always have accurate information? Because I have a deep sense of pride in admissions and generally just the numbers at Hamlin. I love this school. I will die with burgundy and gray in my grave, along with my Theta Chi. So I want to know what you're going to do as the president to make sure that you're always providing your staff, which is your executive board, your representatives, but also the student body with the most accurate information possible.
All right, and Don, you will have a minute to respond. And again, I ask that the candidates do not interrupt the audience members while they're asking their questions. But Don, you'll have a minute to respond.
And I appreciate that question. I did Google those numbers, and I'm actually looking here at Career Index. And I looked on Hamlin's site at length, since I've been going here to try to find some numbers as far as diversity goes, the ethnic breakdown of the students. And if it's on there, I haven't seen it. I would really like to know. But yeah, to get the correct information to my executive board, I would have to have the correct information to start with. Okay, right now this is a debate, kind of ad hoc, about 20, 30 people in the room, and that information needs to be accessible. I didn't come here with a bunch of notes, understanding what the questions were going to be ahead of time, and I didn't. I'm just looking at the web. Like you said, I did Google it, and this is what I have here. And to answer your question, it's important to have the information, the right information to start off with. And I like Hamlin.
Thank you very much, Don. All right, and we'll go to the next question.
I'm asking this question on behalf of Tim Matthews. There's been a lot of rhetoric surrounding diversity. How would you include the needs of students who are disabled and single parents in general if you were elected as president? Yes.
All right, and we will start with Alyssa and Jenny.
Can you repeat the question, actually? Sorry.
There's been a lot of rhetoric surrounding diversity.
Mm-hmm.
As president, what would you do to include people who are disabled and single parents?
As far as diversity, I think being 25% out of 100 is not is an issue. It is an issue. We need more people from different ages, non-traditional students, community and veterans. We need to bring that, and so we need to make Hamlin a choice. We need to make Hamlin a priority for that. In that, I mean, they need to address all the situations. Hamlin is not the most handicap accessible place on earth. And I feel like if you're handicapped physically, you wouldn't be able to get into a lot of the buildings, academic or residential. So we need to bring that up, and we need to bring that up even more. Last year, some organizations did that a little bit around that. But we need to do that, bring that even more, bring it up to administration. We need to make sure that buildings like this are, like, it's a new building and you can say it's handicap accessible because it has elevators. But if you're fire and you probably don't want to go down to the elevator because you're not supposed to. So we need to bring those laws, and we need to make sure that they have all the necessities that they need.
Thank you very much, Jenny. All right, and we'll go.
Audience would like to clarify his question.
Okay, sounds good. And we will move to Don and LeMay for the next answer.
Just real quick to answer your question, I think that, you know, that the single mother piece is really huge, because I know a lot of colleges, they have little grant packages to help with daycare. I mean, I have an 8-month-old and a 2-year-old, and I paid damn near $300 a week for both of them to be in daycare. And I couldn't, but, you know, me and my wife both work, so I can imagine a single mother with any children that wouldn't have some resource they could go to assist them with childcare during the day if the child was not old enough to be in all-day daycare. And that's a really huge piece. And that's one of the pieces that, you know, a lot of people, you know, don't finish college because of that responsibility, that child. A lot of people don't understand that. As far as the handicap accessibility piece, I mean, it's law. It's federal law. You have to abide by it. The building has to be, you know, up to code, so people can get from the top floor to the bottom floor that need that extra service.
All right, thank you very much. And we will move to Desiree and Katie.
So for including everybody, for people with kids, I think that just having more family-oriented events would be able to involve kids more. I've brought my son on campus maybe 6 times. Like, it's just not somewhere that I really want to bring him or need to for any other reason but to go eat sometimes. So maybe doing some more family-oriented events. I know a lot of people that do go to Hamlin have grown up in the Twin Cities or still live in the Twin Cities, sometimes with family, maybe being able to bring siblings or whatever to more family-oriented events. And then for more accessibility, I don't know, just maybe talking to people that have disabilities and seeing what their issues is, because honestly I don't know what those issues are. I've never heard of any, and I'm not going to just bullshit some sort of plan because I don't have one. Sorry.
Okay, and Alyssa and Jenny.
We already responded.
Oh, okay, sounds good. So we will go to the next question.
So I heard the rumors is the old Hutchman Center building is being trashed down and the Monk House is being trashed down for free parking. Do you like it or not? Explain.
All right, and we'll start with Don and LeMay.
Can't say that I would like anything to be trashed on for free parking. I mean, even as a commuter, like, there is ample street space. And as well as that, I don't think it would be beneficial to tear down those things and just for that purpose. That would just take away from that community. Like, I see no reason to do it.
Yeah, I disagree with LeMay, but then again, Hamlin is a business, and so they must be doing it for a business move. You know, you charge $199 academic year for a parking pass. If you can create 50 to 100 more spaces, you know, that's money in the bank.
All right, and Desiree. All right, excellent.
She's coming back. All right. So, you said the old Hesman Center building, and you said the Monk House, right? I do know that there are qualms with parking on campus. I know a lot of community students that are really upset that either parking is too much or that there's nowhere to park. But I do not feel that tearing down buildings is the best way to go about it. I don't feel as if, especially the Monk House, there are people that live there in that house. I don't see why they would go for that house, especially since there's a Pride House and other houses on campus. So I feel like they could do better with a better decision for parking.
All right, and Alyssa and Jenny.
I really don't like the idea of tearing down houses if you don't have a replacement for them. I've had actually conversations with administration, with board of trustees, and I've addressed this question to them. What can we do? Because these houses are very important, like Desiree said, for students. Students live there. For the Hedgeman Center house, they did get a new space, but the space was like dramatically reduced down, to my understanding. And the Monk House, it's a huge place where commuter students, myself, I go in there and feel safe and feel like a community. It's like, to compare, it'll be a little bit like if we tore down Theta Chi House. That would not go down well. So I feel like we need to expand these places. Their response was like they're like hazardous, but we need to build more spaces where they can still continue doing the work they do and creating community outside of campus, because technically it's a little bit off campus. So free parking, I feel like we have some in the street. It's not ideal, but I feel like if we can create a space better.
All right, and we'll go to the next question.
This earlier on this morning in our formal debate, I asked a question, which was, what is the most important thing that you believe that you want to accomplish basically as soon as you get into office? And most of the responses that I got, for example, like Desiree, I believe you said you wanted to tackle printing as well as the rental program. Is that correct? Rental program. Your partner, yep. Alyssa and Jenny, you both said that you wanted to tackle laying out a plan basically for the first semester, as well as getting more in connection, bridging the gap between students and administration, and creating a forum that basically does that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And for Don and Lene, you said that you wanted to do something with community connections on campus, as well as the Hamlet plan. Am I correct? Okay. So my question is, what is the number one thing that the student government has not done this in the past year that you would like to take the lead on? And it seems like most of the issues that you're going to be tackling are ideas that we've already, for example, the printing, we already have someone that's tackling that. For the Hamlin plan, not the Hamlin plan, for the community connections, we had a community committee that was formed to tackle community issues, as well as a few other different ideas that you guys have mentioned. So tell me one idea that is different from what the current administration is doing right now that you would like to take the lead on. That's my question.
Okay, and the first candidate team to answer this question will be Desiree and Katie. So you're directing this question to Desiree and Katie and Don and LeMay? Okay, excellent. Well, we'll start with Desiree and Katie.
The biggest issue of HUSC and the biggest issue that the student body has brought to me, outside of the cost, outside of parking and printing and things being wrong with the Anderson Center and the dining and things of that nature, the biggest thing is that, like I said, HUSC has no presence, or doesn't have a big enough presence. It has gotten better in the past underneath the current president and vice president, but the biggest thing is that HUSC has no presence. They're not prevalent and relevant on campus. So I feel like that's something that can be tackled. That's something that me and my VP and my executive board can then do. We can get out there. We can say, hey, look at our schedules. Who can get to this meeting? Who can go to this game? All these things can happen. That's something that can be tackled quickly and hopefully efficiently. So HUSC needs to have more of a presence. It needs to be prevalent and relevant on campus, and people need to be able to know what it is.
All right, thank you very much. Alyssa and Jenny, if you'd like to respond, otherwise.
We would like to respond if that's
All right.
okay with Jeremiah.
Absolutely.
Okay, one thing that HUSC hasn't done yet is philanthropy. We really have talked about it, but we haven't established anything. We really want to go out and give back to the community, especially the Midway community, because they support Hamlin in such a unique way. We need to give back to that community, and that's one thing that we really want to establish next academic year.
And in addition to that, just because there's a lot of events, a lot of like Black Sea contributes a lot. They contribute a lot to Hamlin, so we need to contribute back. We need to make sure that Hamlin feels it has a presence of the U of M in their certain community. We want to make sure that Hamlin continues on growing and we feel safe here. We feel like we can do something and explore the city and be part of it.
All right, and Don and LeMay.
I would like to connect the non-traditional students and the commuter students with the students that are here on campus full-time. I think that that is an important piece that has been overlooked. I think that bringing it with events and different things that you have going on, I think that that's one of the biggest pieces to make HUSC a little bit more attractive. And besides the Hamlin plan and the stuff that I talked about this morning, it probably be time to sit down with the executive committee and get something on paper, get a plan that's smart and distribute it around the campus, but also have the student buy-in, which is very important. And you have us till 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay. All right, absolutely. So
Thank you very much.
All right, and we will go to the next question.
Okay, so this is directed towards not Alyssa and Jenny exclusively. I already kind of know this, but so for the other groups that are running, you guys say that you don't know what HUSC is doing and that we need to be more involved. And me personally being on the RCP, which I think Rachel has done a phenomenal job doing, I can tell you that we hang up posters every single building. And I can tell you that because I do it. I'll hang up 13 posters just in GLC. It takes forever. And then we have a Facebook page, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have a website that Alex runs, and we do put our information out there. We put information outside the office, and we do stuff like that. And so I'm just wondering, what more do you want us to do?
And we'll start with Don and LeMay.
What does PRC stand for? Okay, great. It's like having a government website. Who's going to go to Ramsey County to look for information? A website, a Ramsey County website to look for information. The first place a student's going to go here, even though you do have a website, is going to be the Hamlin website. You know, and there's some PR things that should be tweaked a little bit, not much, but just a little bit to make it more top of mind, as they say in the business. And I mean, I'm not saying that you guys are doing a bad job, and there's some room to grow. And I just feel that, you know, the work is there, the effort is. I see signs all the time for us, okay, especially during last year, and you have opportunities to engage if you so choose to. But like the general assemblies, you know, some of those are kind of important, and I've been to a couple of them, and they were, you know, interesting, to say the least. But you know, I mean, yeah, you guys do.
Thank you very much, Don. All right, and we will go to Katie and Desiree next.
I think you guys have done a wonderful job with all the work that you guys have done. I think the issue is getting students to actually go to the website and follow them on Twitter and go to the Facebook page and figuring out a way working together with you guys to get students to go and look at it and seek out the information, I think is what we need to figure out what to do.
And Alyssa and Jenny, would you like to respond, or?
We'll say a quick blurb if that's okay with.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think, yes, we're hanging up posters and all of that stuff, which is so great. Rachel and the PRC committee has done a phenomenal job. But we also need to go person to person through all of campus and talk with people. Right now, we're relying on students to come to HUSC, students to come to HUSC marketing tactics. We also need to go to students. We can't expect that of them. Why should they? What are we doing for them? That's what we need to establish. That's why we need to go tell them what we're doing so they're interested in us, then follow our Twitter page, follow our Instagram page, go to the HUSC website for information. We need to reach out before they come to us.
All right, and we'll go to the next question.
Good evening and thank you for your time. My name is Kareem Tawfik. I'm a graduating senior at Hamlin. This is my 4th year. I'm graduating this May. One of the groups that went relatively just unspoken for this entire evening was the alumni group. And in a few short months here, I'll be part of that group. Just my time at Hamlin here, it's the 4 years. It's been really an integral part. I'm starting law school this fall at one of the nation's top law schools at the University of Minnesota. And so the future of Hamlin is really important to me, and just to ensure that the integrity remains the same. And the decisions of a president and vice president at HUSC extend well beyond the time that you spend in office. So they affect not only like the current student body, but also the alumni, also the faculty, the staff, the instructors, and the prospective students as well. So my question is, what is the legacy that each and every one of you intend to pass on to further generations after your time in office and also after you graduate yourself?
And we'll start with Desiree and Katie.
One of my biggest worries is that I can relate to you. I'm a junior. I graduate next year. One of my biggest worries is that I'll graduate. Then a few years from now, my degree won't mean anything, or that's one of my biggest worries. I think there's a lot of people who are worried about that, and so I can definitely relate to what you're saying. And thank you for your question. I want to leave a legacy where that people behind me will aim to do better than I could. You know, most of our parents tell us, I want you to do better than what I did. I'm going to use what I know to tell you so you do better. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to come in knowing what the president and the vice president have done and do better, because there's always room for improvement and change. And then I want the people that come in after me to do better than what I did, so that there's always an up for us.
All right. And Alyssa and Jenny.
I'm going to talk really fast because I have a lot to say. First thing, tomorrow, Student Alumni Board, from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. or 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., they're creating a video for all alum. So everyone should go there. Just say a quick thing about alum. That's the first thing. Second thing for legacy. We want to create a positive relationship with administration because, frankly, it hasn't been that positive. It's been really skeptical. So our true goal is to create a positive relationship between students and administration, whether that's coming to HUSC and then going to administration, or whether we can create that relationship directly from students to administration, creating that communication system.
Now, if you're part of being an alum is having a lot of pride, and I have pride of my school, and I want everybody else to have the same pride I have for Hamlin. And by that is experiences that relate from leadership positions for events, from programming board, from volunteering, stuff like that. So if we can connect all of that, making sure that we are well connected years to come, it's going to be great, because alumni are going to come back, and even more alumni are going to come back, and we're going to create an environment, a community of alumni that will love Hamlin no matter what.
All right, and Don and LeMay.
Real quick here, what's very important to me, I'm a veteran, and when I came here 2 years ago, there was no veterans organization, and I said my legacy at Hamlin is going to be to start the veterans organization, get people involved, and it's gotten to the point where now on Friday, actually, the veterans, any veteran on campus, it will be able to come to the Vets Lounge, fill out the joint service transcripts, send them in. We mail them. Hamlin pays for it. We mail it in. And the American College, it's called ACE. They evaluate your time in the service, and they send it back to Hamlin, and the registrar decides how many credits you get for your military experience. I got a full semester of credits for my experience in the military. And now I get to pass that on in real time. And a lot of the veterans, alumni that are from Hamlin, that have, went on their alumni, obviously, they want to see more a veterans' preference here, a presence. And that's kind of my legacy that I would really like to leave here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Say something? You have a legacy, too.
She is out of time.
I'm sorry. I took up your time.
Each candidate has a minute, and you took up the minute. All right. Next candidate, or next question. Well, as far as I was concerned as the moderator to the debate, I was going to run the debate until there were no questions. That's the way we've always run the debate. If there are candidates that have, well, we have the room until 10, 11 o'clock. So at that time we would shut down. But if there are candidates that need to leave, I have told the candidates that they are free to do so. But I will still continue, as long as there are two teams here, I will still continue the debate. Yes, absolutely.
I was waiting for this question. Thank you. The question was that I have an academic incentive to run, correct? Everybody here knows. Let me just address this, get it out of the way. Everybody knows that there's been a class that has been using HUSC to gain political experience, et cetera, et cetera. Desiree Brown is not part of the people that are just running because of the class. I'm different from the people in the class. which is why there are people on my team, why people on my team are so determined to push behind me, because I want the change. This class gave me the confidence and the confidence to feel like, okay, because like I said, I'm bad with public speaking and all those sorts of things. So I don't know that if I'd been put into this class, if I would have actually reached out. It gave me the confidence and the support system that I needed to do so. So it's not I'm not running for that. I'm running, like I said earlier, to be the change that I want to see.
All right, and if we could have the next question.
Back again. I'm going to try to combine this all into one to try to consolidate a little bit on time. So, when you are the president or the vice president, quite frankly, you're going to run out of time. You would be surprised how much time you're going to spend over the summer alone, just trying to figure out, like, what is your executive board going to be doing from day one. So there's a lot, and then there's just like an overall conversation of how do you wield your power appropriately? How do you bring the administration in? How do you make them listen to you when traditionally over time HUSC hasn't really been someplace to go to actually want to ask students their opinion? While I agree on some levels that you need to, like, if you want them to respect you, you have to go to the door and demand that respect, demand power back. At the same time, you have to build that up. I can guarantee you that if you run to the provost's office and throw something on his desk and tell him he has no choice but to accept it, he's going to laugh at you and then tell you to get out of his office. So what I'm getting at really is time. It requires a lot of time, more time than even one administration is going to be able to go. So what is it that Lucas and I and all of the people in our executive board, and my reps do, what can we do to actually move your agenda sooner? I don't want to necessarily steal anyone's idea, but I want to know what we can start working today. And by today, I really mean, I guess, next week, but by our next executive board meeting, that's Thursday. What can we start doing to move your agenda forward? And I'd like you to talk about these mysterious things you guys keep saying, which are what is the issues that are relevant to the students. You've all said it. I think I've only heard one person actually mention something that sounds like an actual relevant issue to students. Katie, you're the one that actually said it. You said that we need to move from I don't think they're as quickly as everyone likes to think, not to move from single organizations. How can we all work together to move Hamlin to the next level to make it better? That's the only relevant student issue I've heard that's very clear, other than I want to make sure that people tell us things, because that's exactly how we started, and I would hope to help you guys start off better.
Can you kind of asked a lot of, can you clarify what your final question is?
My final question is, what can Lucas and I, what can our executive, what can my reps do to start making your administration today work for you so that you can leave a better legacy for the people that are going to come up and tell you about what you did and didn't do this time next year?
It's Alyssa and Jenny first.
Personally, I think right now you guys are having meetings with administration often. I think setting a framework for that, literally setting up meetings for next year already, saying, Board of Trustees, when you have that meeting, these are the dates, the 2 Tuesdays of next semester when we need you at GA. Already having that done, already having people that students care about into GA, because frankly, people who students care about have busy schedules and we can't expect them to be there next Tuesday. We need to plan ahead. So really having that long-term vision, not the short-term vision, not when May comes, I'm done type of thing, but really encompassing the whole next academic year.
And just to add a little bit about that, some more relevant issues that we can work with the administration or with the student body is making sure, helping us determine what are the relevant issues today, right now, because they change year to year, and there's still 500 students. They're still not admitted. They're going to come next year. They're going to have some issues. But if we have some set foundations, like this is what the problems were this year's and that were not addressed, let's fix that. So make sure in the beginning of the year we go straight ahead and fix those issues that were not addressed this year. So I know you guys are doing a little bit right now with the surveying, and that's great. But surveying is not enough. We need to take actually some actions. So establishing the points that we need to address first.
Yeah, the best thing that's a great question, by the way. The best thing that you and Mr. Dolan could do would be to vote for me. to be president between the 4th, what is it, next week? Yes. I would like your vote. And she has nothing. I have nothing.
Okay. And we'll go to Desiree and Katie.
I think what you can do is make us a list of what you wanted to do and why you didn't accomplish it and why it failed and what else you can see actually happening in the administration. If you did have an extra year, what would you do? What do you think is plausible to do? Because me and Desiree have not been involved in HUSC before, we don't know. And so hearing your failures and what you think could be a good success at Hamlin would be really helpful for us.
All right. Thank you very much. And unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the question and answer segment because 2 of our candidate teams have to leave currently. So we are going to go to closing statements. I'm going to give each team 2 minutes to prepare 2-minute closing statements. So teams, just here's the 2 minutes that you guys get in. Yep, you get 2 minutes to prepare. All right.
But really quick before you guys say your statements, Rachel needs to take your pictures after this.
K, V as in Victor. All right, team. So that has been 2 minutes. All right, and so pardon? Okay. All right, and so unless the candidate teams, I don't know. I heard some talking about what order they were going to go in, but the order last left on is okay. That's your last. All right. Well, we will because in. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Alyssa and Jenny, for being willing to I've got the microphone right here. For being flexible and being willing to be the first candidate team to make an opening statement. And as soon as I give you the microphone, you may begin.
First of all, we want to thank you all for coming, and we want you to continue to come to all of HUSC events regardless of who wins. Your voice is truly important on campus, and we truly want to recognize it. So regardless of who wins, you should still come back, still voice your concerns, because all of these candidates will do a fabulous job and are willing to voice your concerns. Jen, we have the passion and dedication for this position. We have the experience. We really want this, not for the obvious reasons, but because we care. We really care about HUSC, and we really care about the student body, and we want to utilize this position to the full advantage.
Yes, and I also just want to voice Alyssa a little bit that thank you so much. And we will focus on connect and empowering, advocating, and collaborating and inform. And these will be elaborated as the year goes if we are elected. And also just to let you know, if you do not know already, elections are March 4th to the 6th. So please vote. Encourage your friends to vote and vote HP.
Well, in order, it would be Don and LeMay next, but if Desiree and Katie want to go next, they can.
Thank everybody for coming tonight. Thank you for everybody listening to us, and thank you for the candidates for coming and sharing your ideas and dealing with the sweaty mic. Just want to remind everybody that Katie and I are coming in to inspire people that are in HUSC to be in HUSC, to inspire and let people know that you don't have to already be in HUSC to lead HUSC. We're bringing a fresh perspective, unbiased, on what HUSC needs to do, and we're coming straight from the student body, so we know the needs of the student body. And so, vote Desiree and Katie. Thank you.
All right, and Don and LeMay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Don Allen. I'm running for president of HUSC. And it's important that you understand that you need someone to lead this organization for the next year to get some things done here that Mr. Dolan and Corbin had done a great job of getting initiated. And you need a person with a business sense that can go into these meetings with these administrators and say, hey, I can talk their language. Okay, I'm a student here. My first priority is graduating, going to the MAT program after that, which I got accepted to last September. And getting my degree and moving on back into corporate America. I want a lot of people to follow that path. I want a lot of people here. I love everybody in this room. I love all the students here. I'm not going to have mauve and black in my coffin, Corbin. Forget that. I want blue. But I want you guys to vote for me. I want you to vote for real leadership. I want you to vote for someone that will represent you with authority. I'm not going to go, I'm going to deal with it appropriately, professionally, and successfully for every student here at Hamlin. My name is Don Allen. Vote for me.
Definitely the dynamic we have, I think, is good cop, bad cop. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely go for that. I'd also like to thank everyone for being here. We'll definitely, even if we don't get the position, we're going to be around. You can't get rid of us at this point. So I'm kidding. Okay, I'm not kidding. I'm just trying to be funny. Yeah, I did it. We're trying to reach out to the community. That's what we're really trying to do. No matter what happens here, we're going to try. We're going to push. And thank you. That's all I wanted to say. I'm LeMay. There's only one of me.
All right. Thank you guys very much. And if I could get a big round of applause for all the candidates. They all did a fantastic job tonight. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who helped me out personally. I'd like to thank Tate and Evelyn for being so wonderful. And thank you guys again for coming.